What's up? It's Friday. Welcome to the It Had to Be Said podcast, season 1, episode 18. I'm your host, Nettie B, and on this side of the internet, we like to touch on all topics from pop culture, spiritualism, music, and even world events if it calls for it. But more than anything, we like to take a philosophical approach in each discussion. If you Google philosophy, one of the definitions you'll see is lover of wisdom, and that we do love. Okay, I also push out faith-based content. It just depends on where my creative mind is going that day. What's on my spirit to put out. So, we're gonna theorize and we're gonna spark some minds, one episode at a time. All right, one episode at a time. So today, I have a new theory, and that theory is being too liked can stunt your growth. And guess what? We have a case study from pop culture. We got Jada Cheese on the docket. She's an American influencer, best known for dating QC rapper Lil Baby. She's definitely what society holds on a pedestal as a socialite and the Atlanta who's who type of girl. So in layman terms, she's an Instagram baddie. Okay? If you know what that means, or if you know what that's about, then you're here for a reason. Recently, she's been the topic of discussion in black female chats because she was featured on a show. She was featured on a BET reality show called The Impact, where her perception to the audience was less than favorable. A lot of people really couldn't believe how she acted. Like, they couldn't believe, like, is this really her in real life? Which led many to believe that she cares too much about what people think of her. Essentially, she's having an identity crisis right before our eyes. Now, before any of us judge, I think everyone goes through an identity crisis. It's just depending on when, where, who, how, what, and why. So I do believe that she deserves grace and understanding because I do believe that she is accustomed to being liked. And once you fall from that grace and the reality starts to set in that a lot of people really don't like you, that can be shocking, no matter who you are. Let's say that's like a spoiled child losing their parents, and then they gotta go out into the world and make a way for themselves. That's a big shock, and it shouldn't be minimized just because you think they had it better than the next person. We all hurt differently, okay? Everybody's different, and everybody goes through it at different times, okay? So she's the case study. We're gonna jump into 3 pros and 3 cons of being liked too much. All right, maybe we can learn something from this. Pro number 1 of being liked too much. Number 1, it's a survival tactic. It's the natural inclination of a human being to be liked and to be a part of a tribe. As a baby, we need very special nurturing, care, and affection from the ones that are closest to us. Like specifically our parents, but it takes a village. It gets our needs met, and if we're liked enough, we get our wants met. Whether you believe it or not, this is how most of us are born when we come out the womb. You ain't got all this personality, and I don't care who don't like me, I don't care who this, da, da, da. That's not you when you first come out the womb. If you can become one of the most liked in the tribe, you hold power, influence, and more people care about you, so that's an added layer of protection. Put it like this: if you're the least liked in a group, they could sacrifice you and put you on a chopping block. So of course you want to be one of the most liked so you can be protected. That's just tribal instinct. And also being liked, you'll have more resources. So I do think that that is one of the things, that is one of the pros to being liked too much. And I think it can be understood, right? Pro 2, privilege. You have the privilege to get away with things that regular people can't. It's very similar to pretty privilege, but honestly, likability privilege can have the same effect. Just look at Jay-Z. He's well respected and liked by his peers, but he doesn't fit society's standards of beauty. And I feel like you can get away with things at work when they like you. You can get more hours, you know. You could get discounts at stores. There's a lot of different privileges to being liked. And my third pro is you can monetize your likeness. Many celebrities have been doing this since the dawn of time. They make their name, their image, and their brand a means of wealth. Being liked is not bad. I don't think being liked is bad. This theory is about being liked too much. All right, which brings us to our cons of being liked too much. Number one, people pleasing. We all know a people pleaser, and we probably all been there before once or twice, been around that mountain. Wait, before I start, do y'all remember back in the days on Facebook, everybody used to want to be the crowd pleaser? Like crowd pleaser Jeff, crowd pleaser Joe, crowd pleaser Nay. Like, I'm the crowd pleaser. But is that similar to people pleasing? I don't know. We can maybe get to that at the end. People pleasing makes you a slave to other people's wants and needs. It's a vicious cycle of self-denial and putting other people before yourself. You tend to get pulled in multiple directions. You tend to not trust yourself. You tend to put yourself last. And that, my friend, cannot be healthy, I'm sure. Let's move on to the second one. The second con of being too liked. You don't get held accountable. We all know the example of likability and attractiveness can get people less time than you can get less prison time than a criminal who commits the same crime as you, but they're less likable. Your whole trial can depend on your character. And if you just so happen to be likable and charming and charismatic, like Ted Bundy, you may be able to convince a jury to give you a slap on the wrist. And on the other hand, let's say you're an innocent person with a cold demeanor, and people might not like that, and they might find that suspicious, and they can vote you guilty. All right? Another example of accountability is dating. If you find somebody super attractive, you're more prone to let stuff slide instead of checking it right then and there at the door. Okay? We let a lot of attractive people slide with stuff that they should not get away with. So again, that likability and pretty privilege can cross the same, it can spill over into each other, but we want to make sure that we're keeping it on likability as preferred to pretty privilege, which Jada, she has both. Let's be honest, she has both. So yeah, but we do know some very attractive people that don't get away with stuff because they're unlikable. So that's why we want to keep that in perspective. Number 3, you might be fake. Okay, a con to being too liked is you're fake. You can't be everybody's cup of tea. That's impossible. And if you are, I'll go out on a cliff and say that you're not being true to yourself. And in turn, that will make you fake. Being versatile, that's a good thing. But completely changing your views and opinions and thoughts just to be accepted by everyone is fake. I think that the difference between being a people pleaser and being fake is, I think fake is when you consciously deceive people, whereas a person could be operating in people pleasing and not know it. All right, fake people tend to be consciously two-faced, like they're consciously finessing and doing what they got to do to get to the bottom line. I think all of these cons intermesh with each other and they can be used interchangeably. But I hope you guys understand the points that I'm trying to make in these pros and cons. So next, I'm going to get into a few scriptures that I think we should think on, because we are living in the generation of social media. We're living in the internet ages, and many people deny themselves to try to be like everyone else. And if you don't fit that mold and you don't fit that standard of what it is to be the who's who and what it is to be the it girl, then it's like you don't even matter. You don't even exist. But I want to let people know, whether you're a believer or you're not a believer, I want to let you know that if you're doing the right thing and you still stand by some morals and values, you have to understand that there will be people against you. More people against you than people that are of this world and they do everything to fit in and they follow all the trends. Okay? The first scripture, this is about friendship with the world is enmity with God. Okay? This is James 4:4. It says, "You adulterous people, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God." Like I said, you don't have to be in any religion to want to seek the light, to want to do what's righteous, and be unique and be you and be a light. You know what I mean? So you don't have to try to fit in. You don't have to try to chase this likability status for Instagram, essentially. But I do still think that there's pros to being liked. We'll get to that at the end. The second scripture I have is Matthew 10:22. "They will hate you like they hated me, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved." All right, one of the greatest things that this world has ever seen, which is Jesus. They didn't even like him. Imagine being the perfect person walking and they still don't like you. That's how you know. That's how you know that you're not meant to be liked. You're meant to stand out. Next scripture we have is Proverbs 31:30. "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." All right. Don't get caught up in the algorithm and get caught up in covetousness and get caught up in, I don't have this, I don't have that, so therefore I'm not as valuable as the next person. That is not true. And those people who build their life on that, a lot of times it comes crumbling down once people start to see the real them. People start to see the real them and they start talking and this and that. Then it's like, oh, we really don't like her. And then now it's like their whole world is crumbling in. Whereas you could have just been marching to the beat of your own drum the whole time and face that persecution, face that fire that you have to go through. That's another scripture. Count it all joy when they persecute you and things like that. I don't have it right now, but yeah, man, it's a double-edged sword for real. And I just think that we have to strengthen our minds and strengthen our spirit, strengthen our emotions to realize that those who endure to the end will get a reward, and those who endure to the end will feel authentic. You'll feel authentic because trends change. We see that now. And once they change and then you're out of style, then you gonna be feeling real low about yourself. And we don't want that to happen, babe. And my last scripture is Proverbs 17:17. "A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." We want deep connections, long-lasting connections that are unbreakable. So the more persecution you go through and the more people come against you, you'll end up seeing who's really there for you through the thick and thin. And those are the people that you want to keep around. Like, it says a friend loveth at all time. When they say that, think about followers. Like the followers on Jada's Instagram, I'm sure they always like her. It's always a group of people that's always going to like her. But it's like, when the going get really, really tough, are they going to be there or are they going to switch their opinion just because she's not benefiting them in some type of way? You know what I mean? Those who you need to be favored by and liked by will always be there at the right time. You won't have to shrink, dim your light, or dumb yourself down just to be liked. It'll flow naturally and they'll accept your flaws. Social media has tried to airbrush reality and it's not even real. Everyone has down times, everybody has their flaws. So scrolling on someone's highlight reel is not an accurate depiction of them. All right? It's not an accurate depiction of who you are. You like the idea of them. You like their aesthetic. Quiet is kept. Some of y'all keep up with the very people you envy, and it's not productive. All right? So we're bringing this podcast to an end. I hope. I was over the place, y'all. I was a little tongue-tied. I had to refer to my notes. It is what it is. I love you guys. And I just want to leave you with a question. How valuable is being liked to you? There is no right or wrong answer. We all have different values. And being liked 100%, it does have its perks, just as it has its cons. But I just want to know what it means to you. Because you may be an entertainer and your money relies on your likability. And on the flip side, you could be a scientist like Doofenshmirtz off of Phineas and Ferb, working in a closed off lab, creating poisonous chemicals to do shady business, with unnamed people. And you make hella money. So that really wouldn't require much likability at all. I'm just joking. But drop a comment. Let me know, where do you rank likability in your own life? Or how do you value it? I like to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for giving me your time. I appreciate it. And I'm out. Go have fun Friday.